Welcome back, everybody. I know it's been a little while. I have a good reason for that. My phone is broken on me, and I recorded everything on my phone. I don't have a backup camera, which I'm probably going to invest in one now since I do have a new phone. It's not the greatest. I'm going to try it out, see how it is, but we'll see. I hope the camera quality is just about as good as my old one. I don't think it really is. I can't remember what the megapixels were on the camera that I had before. But this phone is somewhat decent. I really want to go over this truck. I really haven't been able to do that. I still think a lot of you guys out there are a little bit confused about this thing, which is understandable. I mean, a lot of people don't get it, and I get that. Not everybody thinks the same as people like me, and I don't think the same as other people, but I mean, it is what it is. Alright, so the frame I got through a barter. A guy was in a pinch. He had the wheel bearing and everything for a Trailblazer. It was his girlfriend's vehicle, and instead of cash, I got the go-kart, which I knew he had things like that. I actually refused cash. I'm like, dude, I know you got like a go-kart, mini bike, something around your property that would run or something like that, or it'd take little to nothing to get running. So that's what we done, and I ended up with this go-kart. Little did I know that I was going to tear apart some of the riding mowers I had out back and start cutting them up, which seen that in one of the shorts in my videos if you look pretty good ways back. That was a yard machine, Simplicity riding mower. It's got Toro riding mower in it. Just a lot of the metal pieces off of it. But this is what this video is mainly about. What I've done, what I've got into it. The pieces that I've used, I'll pinpoint every single one of these things and where they came from. But no further ado, I'm gonna stop rambling, and we're gonna look at this thing. That way y'all can kind of get an idea of where my mind was when I was building this. Start off with the back first. If y'all been following along, y'all know that I pretty much took the whole bed off of this thing and redone it. It is probably about 4 inches wider, which is kind of nice because, I mean, as y'all know, I'm kind of skinny and my kids are still quite small, so we kind of fit beside each other somewhat nice. Yeah, so I've pretty much done that for a little bit more room for us, which you can see like these pipes right here. When I get to the front of the truck, I'll explain where they come from and their purpose. They're going to be coming back here, and one's going to be cooling the clutch, and this one, when I move my switch, I'm still using the regular switch, you know, the little flip switch, but I'm going to cut that out and probably place this right on the outside of that to bring in fresh air. And right here you can see it kind of scoops and the pipes kind of come through here, but this air is actually going to pull from the bottom of the truck too, so it's a little bit lower. It scoops the air way down there. So if I can show you, you can see I gotta clean it up some. I'm waiting to put it on a rotisserie, but as you can see, it does scoop air from underneath the truck to draw it towards the engine. Right now I got everything just tacked, just for now. I haven't rode it around much or anything like that. If I did, they would probably break, but I'm waiting to do that because there's a few other things I need to do. One is I'm moving the gas tank probably down here. As you can see right here, here's the frame of the go-kart right here. I've used like old-fashioned bed rails, not this cheap stuff that you buy now in the stores. I wouldn't recommend using those. Those are very thin. You can take one in and twist it almost like a corkscrew. I wouldn't even recommend those. but these are from like the 50s and 60s. I mean, these, I'm not sure if they were from the 50s. It could be from the 80s, but all I can say is it was made around the time when stuff was actually made right. But yeah, these right here, I ended up getting those, picked those up somewhere. These right here, as you can see, there's circles right here, and I'm leaving things, little things like this here on purpose, because it makes people scratch their head, and if somebody actually knows what that is, they'll be like, wait a minute, that's legs to a table, and he used that. So I mean, there's purpose behind my builds. There is going to be sides right here. I do have pieces of flat iron that are coming up all the way across. Like anybody that knows the 1950s trucks mostly had these side angles right here. That way whenever you did stack stuff, if something flat like this, it would slide or something like that, so it would kind of, with pressure, it would keep everything inside the bed if they had a higher load. But that's pretty much what I'm gonna do there. I haven't got that far yet. I still gotta fix the bumper. There's a lot of nasty welds I gotta cut off from previous stuff, and this was just scrap I had laying around. I'm almost tempted to just cut this off and replace all that. But this right here is pieces from a bunk bed. The rails that went down the bunk bed, you know, they have multiple stacks of them as they go down to keep you from falling off the side of the bed. That's what this is right here. There is another thing I'm going to have to do with this. Welding this plate across here helped out a lot, but there is another original go-kart support like this. Well, part of the frame, it goes right through the middle of this, and I don't understand the way they build it, but it does that. And I'm going to have to strengthen up some of this. I'll probably end up getting some small, thin, flat, thick gauge steel and probably just run down the sides, or put some supports off the sides over the front and the back. But that's my idea on that. Alright, here's a perfect example. You can see that bar right there. It's going straight through the middle. Watch the chain. I don't know if the camera can catch that since I'm moving the phone but this chain will get loose and tight, loose and tight, loose and tight. And right now I got it loose because when I push it around and stuff, I don't want something to pop, because I don't know, I've seen the engine like twist down when I'm turning, so will wait. That's why I haven't rotored around at all. Okay, the fenders on the mini truck. I wish I would have kept it where it was labeled, like the Aussie label. But this is barbecue grill top. That didn't sound good. So the fenders, I pretty much, as y'all been following along, for those that that are new, I did use foam, like great stuff. This is an experiment really, and it's out of fun. But what I'm gonna do is put fiberglass all over this, fiberglass and resin, and then I'll do body filler and stuff like that from there, and then progress on until we get to the point of paint. But as y'all can see, we got a long way to go. The sides were actually wood at one time, but when I finally made a decision I was gonna get serious about this, I replaced it. And this steel is flat steel, which I have some pieces over here. This is one piece right here. It was actually given to me by a neighbor. He builds, well, his company builds file cabinets, and he's like, hey, I got this short stuff laying around that they're probably just gonna toss. He's like, you want a few pieces? I'm like, yeah. So if it's free, it's for me. So I guess I'll get to the engine now. This is a Predator 212. Sorry for the mower, but Predator 212. It does have a stock carb on it right now. My aftermarket carb, it's a stage 1. I actually had to put it on my tiller. The tiller was giving me some issues with the carb and stuff. I didn't feel like cleaning it, so what I done, I just took that carb and put it on there, and I tell you what, that thing will dig some dirt and not stop. Alright, my tool of choice is an old bread knife. I've probably used this bread knife on the majority of all this trimming and cutting. As you can see, I just got stuff tacked. If you wonder what kind of welder I use, you're probably gonna laugh, but I'll show you. I have this little guy right here. I have had it for probably 7 years. It's never let me down. I have to say, if you want to learn how to weld and really learn how to weld, try using one of those. The reason why I say that is, one, it'll teach you how to really clean metal. Really clean it. If you don't, it will not work. I mean, I'm not even sure if they even still sell those little welders. I haven't really paid attention. I might go in there and look next time I go to Harbor Freight. Alright, so I guess I'll get to the interior and we'll keep pushing along to the front. I recently just made all this. I'm going to upholster all this later. I got to make brackets to make it mount to the seat and everything. Set this right here for a minute. Made a homemade light too. This won't come up at the moment because I do have it bolted in from the bottom. It is removable. This whole seat is removable now. Before, it was welded. As you can see, I got to take some of these welds off. I had it actually welded to the body, which I did clean a lot of these up right here, and you can see that the seat was a little bit lower and everything. I did have to paint the inside of here because if you look on the outside, all this is starting to rust because there's no like extra crap in that steel. So I mean, you just pretty much paint it and go. Alright, so you can see the original frame here. There was a pole right here that went straight up and attached to the steering wheel, which I have a bar going across here, and I'll get into that in a minute. But you can, as I said, you can see the original frame. This wasn't here, or that wasn't here, or none of this. This is actually where you put your feet on the side of a mower. This come off of a Toro, same as that, and it kind of just fit perfect as like a floorboard type thing. I do have other pedals. I'm changing those out. I'm trying to work out to move the brake booster and do hardline, regular brake line. This looks like that stupid refrigerator water lines or something. I don't know, it's just plastic. I don't like it, and I know they expand when you hit the brakes, so I'm definitely changing that. Later on also, you can see light coming through all that. I did start cutting some of these welds a little bit. What I'm gonna do is I'm going to clamp all these closed and then just tack weld it all the way down, and I'm gonna go through with some seam sealer and smooth all this out to where it has a smooth transition. Possibly cover all this and make it look nice with carpet and everything later down the road. This dash right here is actually from a Power Wheels. One of those small side-by-sides. You can see where the fake roll cage went right here. The steering wheel was actually over here. It had like a little fake tack, whatever you call it, or speedometer, and it had like a little grippy bar right here. So I have this screwed down at the moment, but this right here is actually the whole control panel, which if y'all remember, it was right here that controlled the stereo. This does connect to my phone and everything. It's an old tower speaker, which I'll show y'all that right now. Alright, here's all the pieces to it. I did cut one speaker off. It was drawing too much power having two, which if y'all seen that, it did have two speakers each like that on each side, but I'm gonna go with one on each side now. I just got to solder some of that up. This was the full control panel, but I cut the top off of it. Those tweeters are actually going to end up probably in these holes right here, more than likely. And then the speakers, single speakers on each side, and then the sub, I'm trying to figure out where I'm gonna put it. I might end up still putting it back here, but I need to work on a muffler situation to quiet things down. See if I can show y'all the brains of it. I don't know if I can. Oh, I can pick it up a little bit. There we go. And there is the brains of the operation. I'm going to box that in to where it'll be watertight, which more than likely I will not be driving this truck in the rain at all. There wouldn't be no reason for that. It will be able to do that, but since all this is open and everything, nah. The thing is too, I can put a key switch here, on and off switch to turn the engine off. Like I said, I have like everything here, power button, Bluetooth input where I can change different inputs. But you can run TV too, but you have to plug in the HDMI from underneath the dash this way, and it's just right up under here. All right, now the sides, like right here, this is steel, but it is covered in foam. That was the hood of the Simplicity mower, and I cut that and placed it on there. That was on one of the shorts also. Let's get to the sides. All right, so if you know the old 50s truck, they have the step right here. It goes down the sides. I haven't built it yet, but I have everything to build it. Some of that flat stock over there is going to be some part of it, because I have thicker gauge of that than the thin stuff like this. But what I'm going to do is have pieces of angle iron come out to where they need to be in the front and behind the fender, and then I'm going to fill all this in with a step and then smooth it all out. Probably put some rubber on top of it, glue that on top of it to kind of finish it off nice. And that's one reason why the bottom of the truck kind of looks funky, because the steps, if you're looking at the old trucks, the body kind of curves way up underneath, and then that, and then step. All right, the whole windshield thing, that's something on another day. That's like the last thing I want to think about right now, because I kind of want to get the body ready, and I pretty much got where I need the windshield, but something like this I can change as I go. All right, so now we're at the front of the truck. So what I'm gonna do is take the hood off, which is kind of heavy now since I added steel and everything. We'll get to that in a minute. All right, so underneath the hood, there's a lot going on. So you remember those hoses that I showed you in the back? These are actually air scoops. Stick my finger in here. And I did ride around I didn't go real fast, but I did ride around a little bit, and air does come through these, but I do need to mock it up a whole lot better, because you can see my finger right here. I need to close all this off underneath, and I'm pretty sure more airflow will go through there, but it does go through small scoops, as you can see. It's just a little extra cooling. I got a lot of cleaning up to do. I had to fill in like a big gap right here, and with that welder, it's a challenge, because either it'll burn through or it won't. And like stuff like this, it's a hit or miss, because I was welding thick onto thin, and in order to get this to work, I have to get this hot enough, but not so hot that it burns through this. So like I said, if you're wanting to learn how to weld, get one of those like cheap welders, because it'll teach you to keep metal clean, because there's no gas or anything to help you out. All this is steel tack, but this whole front piece right here was actually where the seat was on a Simplicity mower, and there was like a bar right here too, and it stretches all the way across. We got training wheels right here as brackets, and I can pick up the whole front end of the go-kart off of this grill. It's not moving. This piece right here, if you've seen in one of my shorts, it was a piece of a return vent from my mother-in-law and father-in-law's house. It was quite wide. It was longer than the front of this truck. I cut out the middle section and put it in here for a grill, because later on I want to do a type of oil cooling to where I have a small oil cooler right here, or like a miniature trans cooler or something like that, and then have hoses running back there, and then have a small pump to where it'll circulate the oil from the engine. I gotta balance everything out to where it doesn't like shove all the way back up into the engine. I gotta make sure everything's level, or at least below the engine, that way the oil level in the engine stays current. But that's my plan, to do a little bit of extra cooling on the engine too. The brackets for the headlights are probably going to be temporary for now. They're just to hold them, because soon I'm going to, that was my knee, I'm getting old. Soon all of this is going to be going around. It's all going to be steel, and the headlight is going to be part of the grill too. So when I take the grill out, the headlights come out too, and also the turning lamps that I'm going to be putting right here. So what I use for the grill, if y'all been following along, this back piece with these fins on it right here is actually a very, very old shop light. It wasn't working. The ballasts were bad. I could have replaced the ballast, but I got a few of them that I acquired when I got this home. They were in the basement. All the ones down in the basement work. I just don't feel that they're safe right now, so I'm going to rewire them. And then put new ballast in them, kind of update them, and then paint them and clean them. This one was kind of botched, so I decided that this would be a good candidate for a grill. And if you think about it, a lot of people may get mad at me because I cut up this old thing, but if you think about it, once I get done with this truck will be around for a very, very long time. So this grill is going to be a part of this forever. All right, so let's get to this outer part. This is actually a wall TV mount for a very, very old school, like early 2000s flat screen. I'm talking about like one of these flat screens that most people can't afford. It come from a business, they were throwing it away, and it was from a conference room. And I mean, this thing was massive. I mean, I want to say like the TV was like this thick, and it was huge, but it was mainly just for a conference room. But this is what held it up. I gotta find the other piece, but there was a huge stand that held everything, where it hid the wires. If any of you guys around my age, y'all have seen them before. They're just massive. But I thought this would be awesome to put in the middle. It gives a little bit of character. Granted, it isn't like period correct to like a 1950s Ford or anything like that, but it's close. And this is what it's about. I mean, I just used what I had. This bumper is from the same bump bed that those back rails on the bed are. But yeah, that's pretty much what that is. And this is pretty much temporary too, because if you look at these old trucks, most of the bumpers aren't square like this. They're flat, like a flat piece of steel, kind of curved, that go around real nice and neat. But yeah, that's pretty much that. All right, so let's get to the hood. Now the hood has its own things too. It has, I'm not finished with it yet, but air gets drawn up from the bottom. There's a hole. Air does get drawn up from the bottom, and there's a vent behind this, and I'm trying to incorporate some way to do like a small air conditioning system or whatever. So I'm thinking about cutting like some small vents in the dash maybe, and then run some tubing from this to at least have on and off vents. I can close them or whatever, and possibly get some cooling and stuff like that too, which there's a lot coming through here, but there is going to be a firewall in between here and there, because that's where the batteries are going to be held. All right, this right here is pretty much where the hinges are going to mount. I haven't quite fixed up where I'm going to do that underneath the hood yet. That's still something I'm scratching my head about, but I will figure it out. I always do. But these are where the hood hinge mounts are. One thing I do have to do is fill all this in, cover it up. I got to do a little bit of filling in right here with some small pieces of steel. I still want to be able to remove this plate if I want to. So anything that I'm doing over top of this will not be attached to that plate. All right, well, I hope y'all enjoyed this little walk around on the truck. I hope y'all get somewhat of an idea of where I'm going with this. It's definitely been a labor of love. The kids enjoy it. Everybody that comes across this truck enjoys it. It's definitely not an eyesore or anything like that in person. It's different. It's way bigger in real life than what it looks like. I mean, it's bigger than a golf cart. There's a lot of weight involved. There's some things I need to do with the powertrain. Probably a torque converter or something like that. I've decided I'm strictly keeping it a go-kart. I'm probably going to go onto Go Power Sports and get a forward and reverse gear for this to make it more user-friendly, because it's getting heavy to push it around. I mean, it's not really heavy by no means, but to push it around, back it up and stuff like that, it's kind of getting annoying. And I want to make it to where all you have to do is pretty much just be able to jump in it, drive it, anybody. You know what I mean? But anyway, that's enough of me rambling. I need to get back to working on this thing. I'm so glad I was able to make a full video and walk around this thing. But y'all stay tuned, like and subscribe, and I'll catch y'all on the next one. Peace.